Welcome back, everyone. Picture this. A massive old TV studio in Houston that's been shut down for a decade. No electricity, no staff, just dust-covered sets, flickering ghost lights, and whispers through the empty control rooms. That's where I got hired. A maintenance night guard gig. Pay was too good to be true. And I learned quickly, this place isn't abandoned. It's haunted. And they want followers, not visitors. My name is Tyler. I took the night shift at Studio 7, and I was given 10 strict rules to follow. They gave me rules. Strict. Terrifying. The kind that feel alive. I first heard about the job at a mechanic's garage. A wiry guy slid me a crumpled paper at closing time. Studio 7's hiring a night guard, roundback job site. Pay cash. No questions. He set it down, stared me dead in the eye. Read the rules inside before you even clock in. My skin prickled, but I was broke. So I went. At the studio gate, the manager didn't greet me. He just tossed me a flashlight and a binder saying, 7 rules. It kills you if you break him, or worse, it says you do. He didn't explain what it meant. The rules for Studio 7. Found inside the binder in neat typewritten order. Rule number 1. Begin your shift at 11 p.m. sharp. Do not clock in early. Rule number 2. Do not enter the main stage room after midnight, no matter what lights you see or what voices call your name. Rule number 3. Between 1 to 2 a.m., do not touch any prop, costume, or camera. If something falls, step away and do not recover it. Rule number 4. At 2:22 a.m., the red on-air sign will blink on the control board. Do not turn it off or try to disable it. Rule number 5. If the audience seats creak as if someone's settling in, do not look. Keep walking through the halls. Rule number 6. If a camera in the corner of the room whirs to life, leave the room immediately and take the maintenance stairwell. Rule number 7. At 4 a.m., exit through the loading dock only. Do not try to exit through the front studio doors. At the bottom in a note, follow all rules. Break one and we'll reshoot you forever. First night, arrival at 11. I clocked in 11 p.m. sharp per the rule. The studio floor was alive with dust motes floating in half-lit beams. Silent. Endless hallways stretching off in every direction. I tested my flashlight, quick pulse check, then headed right for the corridor to main stage to prep the walkabout route. At 11:30 p.m., I found the control room. No monitors alive, but the board lights glowed dimly as if standing by. Rule 4 hadn't triggered yet, but a cold voice echoed in my head. At 2:22 a.m., do not turn it off. A soft, high-pitched tone began whirring through the speakers. My pulse spiked. I clicked the lights on and off, but the tone didn't fade. I shut the door and walked on. The corridor outside the main stage door was dead silent. But inside, I heard footsteps. Slow, deliberate, pacing across the stage floor. They said step away. That's rule 2. I hovered. My heart hammered like a prop-driven drum. The footsteps stopped. Then, in just a moment's darkness, the large studio door closed with a single click. The echo rolled through the whole building. Past the rehearsal area, I heard something clang over near the prop tables. The Rule 3 test rolled in. If something falls, do not go recover it. But my mind fought it. You can't leave loose equipment lying overnight. My foot closed the gap to a knocked-over chair. A spotlight switched on behind me, icy blue. I stared at the chair and backed off fast. At 1 a.m., I neared the seating area. Rows of chairs stretching back into a black abyss. A single hollow creak sounded behind me. Rule 5. Chairs creak when someone sits. I forced my eyes away from the rear row and walked straight through. A deep voice far behind, keep moving. No one in sight. I entered a side green room to check my route. A camera in the corner, a vintage boom camera on rollers, started rotating quietly, lens latching on me. Rule 6. Camera worst to life equals leave room immediately. I didn't risk it. I bolted through the service door and took the maintenance stairwell down. As I roamed the hallway lining the dressing rooms, I swore I heard old game show music drifting from empty studios. The kind of cheesy music from the 80s, exactly what they used for Dust Bowl W Your Money every Tuesday afternoon. Something inside demanded I open the door and check. But I didn't. Got cold sweat instead. I circled back to the control room just to breathe and collect myself. The monitors had flickered to life. Static, then a grainy image. A silhouette pacing on the main stage. My pulse spiked. Rule 4 said not to touch the board at 2:22 a.m., but this was 2:15 seconds to torment me. I looked away. I turned my head. Above the board, the red on-air light began flashing. I froze. Rule 4. Do not turn it off or disable it. My fingers hovered over the kill switch, struggling to obey. Seconds felt like hours. Then it stopped. Light gradated off. No switches flipped. Door silent. But the static on the monitors resolved into something. A pair of bright eyes watched me from the center of the frame. Then the screen went black. Footsteps. My name echoed from behind the main stage door. Rule 2 again, don't go in after midnight. It said, come in. I want to show you. I turned away, headed for the control room. A door slammed behind me. I ran. The building groaned. Lights flickered briefly like heartbeat pulses. Shadows stretched along the walls. I sprinted down a maintenance hallway and stopped before an unmarked janitor's door, fearing a camera twitch out behind me. I found a utility closet to hide and rest, but glimpsed movement through its small window. A camera, identical to before, slowly pivoting, lens zeroed in. My breath hung frozen in silence. I backed into the corner as the lockdown quiet echoed with the building's own pulse, like flesh breathing. That's just the first half of night 1. I clocked out after 4 a.m., sure I survived. But I'm not the same. Each rule I followed, or nearly broke, rattled me. I don't know what waits beyond, but I'm heading back in. I made it home, barely. When I regained composure this morning, I knew the worst part hadn't begun. Something followed me home. A shadow that lingers in headlights. I've got to go back tonight. I need to know why they exist and what they want. But first, I need to understand Studio 7's past. Studio history. Between my survival run and my return, I uncovered records online and in the city's archives. Studio 7 opened in 1962 as a children's game show set. In 1973, during a live broadcast, host Calvin Hart died on air. He collapsed, choking on his tongue as cameras rolled until the pain shut them down. In 78, a makeup artist was overwhelmed backstage, beaten to death by an unseen force. Cameras captured only a blur. The final shutdown came in 1984. During a midnight rehearsal, the main camera turned on by itself, and images showed crew members writhing and screaming inside monitor feeds. Nobody went back after that. They locked the doors and left everything behind. That's when the job ad appeared again. Night guard wanted. Maintenance work. Minimal experience. I clocked in again, flashlight in hand, binder tucked under my arm. My reflection looked haunted, eyes ringed with red. Tonight, I'm going back into the main stage after midnight despite the rule. Because I need answers. The studio corridors were empty, except for a ding from an old stage mic. The red on-air sign buzzed, but it was 23:59. I resisted flipping the control enough to keep it off. Rule 4 still holds. But somewhere deep in me, I was drawn to it. My hand turns the knob. Click. Silence. Step. The stage lights pop on into full brightness, flicking beyond dimmed standby. I shouldn't be here. But the place looks fantastic, like an unplayed 1970s show, empty audience seats bathed in warm glow. Figures move beyond the spotlight, assembling props, adjusting cameras, but they're just out of focus like ghosts in haze. A heavy voice calls, "Cal? Is that you?" The second rule, do not enter main stage after midnight. I step forward and see his face, host Calvin Hart, alive. His smile is too wide, his eyes too gleaming, the glow too cold. He floats toward me. Suddenly I gasp, recognition. He collapsed once. He's dead. I turn and run, feet echoing on the boards. The lights go out behind me with a mechanical clunk, and the stage door slams shut. Back in the control room, I find a dusty notebook titled Studio 7 Master Tapes. Inside, transcripts from Calvin's final show. This show must go on. Camera 3, closer. Something wrong with the makeup guy. We have audioing, no signal. I press play on one tape, the lights flicker. A woman's scream bleeds through static. My heart stops. Heading to the props room, my flashlight illuminates a dusty camera crane. I hear a whisper, "Look." Ahead, a big camera is positioned, lens tracking me. Rule 3, do not touch any prop or camera between 1 to 2 a.m. My hand twitches toward it, must know more. My brain overrides me. I grasp the crane handle. Lights burn green, and I freeze. The crane jerks violently. Overhead, no power. It hurts when the studio gods punish rule breakers. The corridors have warmth rushing now, like someone stalking behind me. I round a corner and see crew members sweeping debris off the floor. They're in 80s coveralls, silent, except when one stops, stares, then stumbles toward me, gaze blank. I backpedal, lights flicker. The figure lurches and collapses with limbs bent wrong. I leap away, heart bursting, flawed like a zombified studio slave. In the makeup green room, candles lit the counter. Makeup tubes were open. The MAC brushes lay floating. I step closer, each tube cracked and dried. As I pass, something moves in the mirror. A bruised hand scrapes on the opposite side, but no one is there. Then at my elbow, a splatter, warm red liquid. I spin, nothing. Back to the control room, the on-air red light blinks. Rule 4, do not turn off the red on-air light. My hands hover over the switch, zooming between circuit boards and cables dripping sweat. The blinking halts, transitions into a steady glow. Through the static monitor, I see the grainy figure of Calvin Hart, standing motionless, directed at me. He mouths, "Help me." Then the image dissolves. The red light flickers, slower, then off. In the archives room, I discover a rebound ledger with names and fates, line after line. Calvin Hart, died live on air, 1973, still filming. Patricia Parker's makeup, bludgeoned, 1978, hair pinned in place. Ward Fulton, technician, found jerking in booth B, 1984, static ate him. And at the end, a blank line with 2025, hired guard. I shut the ledger, stomach twisted. I was on the list. Returning to the main stage, no cameras, no ad crew, no crew at all. Spotlights snap on, locking into focus. A tall figure stands dead center, drifting toward me in slow float. Calvin's ghost, but wrong. Eyes deep shadows. It stretches out an arm, metal and surroundings. I bolt off stage, floorboards creaking like bodies shifting. Heart ready to burst, a freight elevator door creaks open. If I take it, I can hit the loading docks and escape. Rule 7 says exit through loading dock. I step in. Floors descend 3. When the doors open, it's still inside the studio. A dead end, plaster falling from walls, cables dangling. I try pressing buttons. Nothing works. Behind me, footsteps, high heels clack. I turn. Makeup artist ghost stands there, smiling disturbingly. The doors to the elevator seal shut with the faintest thud. I press buttons again, they flash. I'm sinking. I make it back to the freight exit. Open sliding doors lead to a service alley. The sky seems flat, 4 a.m., but red tinged like burned film. Rule 7. At 4 a.m., exit through the loading dock only. I dash out. A scream behind me, an echoing scream from the studio consumes the night. I hear whispers, welcome to the show. I reach my car, it's covered in dust, TV dust. My breath shakes, I breathe, run the engine. I glance back, the studio facade disappears behind a haze. When I hit the road, the billboard for Studio 7 shows a live feed, my face under now airtime. My heartbeat roars. My vision doubles. I sputter the gears away. The screen flickers. Red on air sign through my rearview mirror. I thought I knew fear, but until you see your own corpse on tape, behind that red light, you don't know horror. I staggered back into the control room, my legs trembling. The screens blinked to life as if sensing my return. The on-air red sign glowed softly. Electricity hummed in the air, though the studio had no power lines. I knew something ancient was pulling energy here. They say TV is dead. But tonight, it's undead. The switch flipped itself. Suddenly, I was on the monitors. Labels flashed. Live Cam 1, host, Calvin Hart. Live Cam 2, audience, empty rows. Live Cam 3, you. I tried to speak, but only silence came out. Instead, I heard my own voice patched into the feed. Warped, slow, hypnotic. Welcome to Studio 7 Live. Behind me, a figure in a vintage suit, blurred, hovering. The screens flicker into grainy footage. The final episode where Calvin collapsed on air. Bloody smudges on guest chairs. Makeup brushes dripping with crimson. Scenes melded into one another, time-lapse and freeze frame. The audio loop shrieked and shrank. Everyone on the feeds looked at me and screamed silently. Rule 4 pulsed in my mind. Do not turn off the red on air sign. But my hand lifted toward the switch. That didn't feel like me. Not exactly. It felt like thin wire pulling me toward the sign. I could not resist. The light dimmed, then flashed bright. Gruesome close UPS of Calvin's final moments. I gasped. Head pounding. The room seemed to shrink. Behind me, lens flare and a thin shadow coalesced. It stepped into view, the host ghost, Calvin himself, pale, cold, hollow-eyed. Play the tape. Tell them why we never left. My body obeyed. I reached out and loaded a tape labeled Show 713 into the deck. A word. Lights flickered. The booth door slammed. My reflection dissolved into static. Overhead cameras clicked into position. From the empty audience seats, silhouettes sat. Slow, deliberate claps. Repetitive. Obsessive. I glimpsed dozens of pale faces. No eyes, no mouths, just deep voids, clapping over and over. The echo rumbled through my chest cavity. The camera angles locked onto me. Suddenly, a monitor glitch. I glimpsed behind me a decayed corridor, the real studio. My pulse spiked. I tried to bolt. Stop. You're live. The halting voice came not from the speakers, but from inside my skull. I couldn't move. I was already host. Behind the booth door, a single breathless knock. 2, 3. The rule I'd forgotten hid itself in panic. Do not leave or answer the door during the broadcast. It swung open. Inside stood the manager, the gaunt figure from my interview, lifeless eyes. Excellent performance. He motioned me out into the corridor. I followed. I emerged into daylight, or the illusion of it. The studio front doors opened into a neon sky alley. I sprinted. I brushed the air away in relief, until I saw the billboard. Television Studio 7 Live Now on air. A giant feed showing my face behind studio controls. The tagline, "Tonight's host, you." I screamed, fumbled for my keys and ran my car. Engine roared. Headlights cut through fog. The studio vanished behind haze. "I'm free. I'm out," I whispered. But then, my rear view reflected the studio gates, bone-latticed, flickering into existence. The red on-air sign glowed in my rearview mirror. I hit throttle. The fog turned thick. Road signs looped back to Studio 7 exit. My car's radio crackled into static. Then words. "Next episode, tonight's guest, you." My face appeared on the dash display. There is no ending. I don't sleep. I don't dream. Every night at 3 a.m. the red sign lights up. Cameras focus. And I do the show again. That was tonight's tale from the static-soaked shadows of dark horror Bytes. You can turn off your screen now. But the broadcast never truly ends. Somewhere deep inside forgotten frequencies, Studio 7 is still live. The host is still talking. The audience is still clapping. And the show is still looking for its next guest. Next week we'll take you beneath the earth, to an abandoned subway line in New York City where trains arrive with no conductor and no brakes. Locals say if you step on after midnight you never get off. But one maintenance worker did. And he brought something back with him. Until next time, keep your lights on, follow the rules, and remember, some jobs aren't meant to be survived. This was Dark Horror Bytes.